All right, we're on section 4, your corporate operation. Starting smart by running your corporation to maximize all the benefits, by Cheri S. Hill, one of the authors of this book. In chapter 1, so this is section 4, your corporate operation, how your corporation's running, is operating. Start smart by running your corporation to maximize all the benefits, by Cheri S. Hill. So in chapter 1, we'll be talking about your corporate charter is born. Your corporate charter, meaning, is born. Your corporate structure. What is a corporate charter? Who are the players? Chapter 2, care for your corporate child. Care for your corporate child. Danger ahead. Don't jeopardize your corporation by ignoring corporate formalities. Simple, easy, and quick procedures you must follow to keep your corporation legal. Chapter 3, nurture a great, lasting, and successful profit and protection-centered relationship with your corporation. Nurture a great, lasting, and successful relationship with your corporation. Profit and protection-centered. Director, officer, employee. Where do you fit in to get maximum benefits? Director, officer, employee. Where do you fit in to get maximum benefits? Chapter 4. Warning, warning, don't kill your corporate protection and benefits. Apply simple strategies to keep your corporate veil from being pierced. Your corporate protection. So yeah, we're on chapter 1. We're going to start with a quote. Let's see, was there any quotes on this page? No. If you have built castles in the air, your work need not be lost. That is where they should be. Now put the foundations under them. If you have built castles in the air, your work need not be lost. That is where they should be. So they should be floating around, making money. Now put the foundations under them. Henry David Thoreau. Chapter 1, your corporate charter is born. Your corporate structure. What is a corporate charter? Who are the players? Case 5, Bobby. Case study 5, Bobby. Bobby worked as an apprentice carpenter throughout much of high school. When he graduated, he got a job with a well-known construction company where he worked for close to 10 years. One afternoon, the owner of the company came to the job site to share some bad news. He was diagnosed with an incurable illness and had only 1 year to live. He had no desire to keep his company going and was shut down immediately following this job. Bobby went home that night and shared the news with his wife. After her initial reaction, she looked him straight in the eye and said, "You're an excellent carpenter. Why don't you start your own company? Be your own boss." Never answer or depend on anyone else again. He was both scared and motivated by her proposal. The next day, Bobby called his brother, who was an accomplished CPA. His brother suggested that Bobby operate from a corporation. "But I'm small potatoes right now," he replied. "Doesn't matter, you need the liability protection, the benefits, and the peace of mind a corporation gives you." Peace of mind, he thought, while conjuring up images of huge corporations and mountains of paperwork. Peace of mind, he thought, while conjuring up images of huge corporations and mountains of paperwork. Because he trusted his brother's advice, he contacted a local company that sets up corporations. The process, he found out, was very easy and affordable. The hardest thing for him was to come up with a corporate name. He learned that he could be the president, secretary, treasurer, and director of his own corporation. He didn't need anybody else. He felt like he was finally in control. Bobby worked very hard in his business. In his first year, he had hired 3 other carpenters and a bookkeeper who all stayed busy with the many projects Bobby lined up. His brother was a big help. He taught Bobby the importance of treating the corporation like a separate entity. This included never commingle funds, sign his name as president of the corporation whenever contracts were involved, have his letterhead, business cards, and yellow page ad reflect the corporate name. There was no question that Bobby was operating correctly through a corporation. For the first time in his life, he was putting money away for retirement and actually had more spending money in his pocket. Yes, his brother was right. He did have peace of mind. Key points. I thought it was going to be like a tragedy story. I'm so glad it wasn't. A corporation is a separate legal entity. A corporation is formed by filing the articles of incorporation in a given state. The corporation is owned by stockholders. The corporation is governed by the board of directors. Corporate action is performed. Remember, the board of directors come up with the resolutions, and those in turn are given to the employees, and the officers. Corporate action is performed by the corporate officers, employees. Corporate action. Corporate action is performed by the corporate officers and employees. Corporation is governed by the board of directors. A corporate charter is born. In the beginning, an idea formed. You may already have an established business or are ready to go into business for yourself. Whatever the situation, you have come to the conclusion that a corporation is the best business structure to operate from due to its major tax benefits and the liability protection it gives you. The incorporation process starts when an incorporator prepares and signs the articles of incorporation, or in some states, certificate of incorporation. So the incorporation process starts when an incorporator prepares and signs the articles of incorporation, or in some states, certificate of incorporation. The articles set forth specific information such as the name of the corporation, the principal place of business, the name and address of the incorporator, and the names and the addresses of the first board of directors, as well as specific information relating to the type and amount of stock the corporation will be authorized to issue, and director officer liability protection. Okay, so let's read that again. The articles set forth specific information such as the name of the corporation, the articles you have to sign to get incorporated. The articles set forth specific information such as the name of the corporation, the principal place of business, the name and address of the incorporator, and the names and addresses of the first board of directors, as well as specific information relating to the type and amount of stock, the corporation will be authorized to issue, and director officer liability protection. On the day those articles of incorporation are filed in the Secretary of State's office in the state in which it is operating, the corporation is born. In addition to filing with the Secretary of State, some states require additional filing with the county clerk or publishing a copy of the article in the local newspaper. Or publishing a copy of the articles in the local newspaper. If this applies to your state, you want to ensure these formalities are met prior to starting your business. You want to ask, what do you got to do? If this applies to your state, you want to ensure these formalities are met prior to starting your business. A corporation is a separate legal entity with a life of its own. It can conduct itself and act as any individual can, except it cannot vote or get married. How does a corporation think for itself? A corporation operates through a board of directors who are elected each year by the shareholders of the corporation. The directors in turn elect the officers who are responsible for carrying out the instructions as set forth by the directors. Let's take a look at different roles and management responsibilities of the corporate players. Directors. It is the director's duty to manage the shareholders' investment through due care and diligence. So the directors are managing the shareholders' investment. You, as the director, are the governing body of the corporation, and therefore you set corporate policy, actively manage the affairs of the business, and select and supervise the officers who are responsible for handling the day-to-day business matters. Officers. As an officer, you perform whatever duties have been delegated to you by the board of directors, and you are generally responsible for the day-to-day management of the corporation. You are also held accountable by the same standard of conduct as the board of directors. Shareholders. Shareholders contribute capital for investment in the business in the form of cash, property, or services. In exchange, they receive a stock certificate that represents their ownership interest. Shareholders contribute capital for investment in the business in the form of cash, property, or services. In exchange, they receive a stock certificate that represents their ownership interest. This ownership gives them the right to vote, the right to receive distributions of dividends if declared by the directors, and the right to receive a proportionate share of the assets in the event of a dissolution. Shareholders do not have any say in the management of the business. However, they do have the power to elect the directors, who in turn elect the officers responsible for running the business. So indirectly they can control corporate policy, because they have the power to elect the directors, who elect the officers who put their resolutions into play. President. The president reports directly to the board of directors, carries out the requests, and is ultimately responsible for the actions of the other officers in the corporation. So the president is kind of like the president of the officers, because he listens to the board of directors. Secretary. It is a corporate secretary's responsibility to make sure that the corporation's actions are properly authorized and documented. This person is generally the one to prepare resolutions to bring to either a board of directors or shareholders meeting to be read and voted on. The secretary also serves as liaison between corporate management and the shareholders. Treasurer. The treasurer has responsibility for all financial records and transactions, including maintaining the corporate bank accounts, investments, and liabilities. This information is vitally important to the board of directors so that it can make informed decisions in regard to the corporation's financial future. Resident agent. I'm not sure what that means. The corporation must maintain a registered office. Resident agent. The corporation must maintain a registered office and a registered agent within the state so that all legal or official matters pertaining to its corporate existence may be addressed there. You can be your own resident for any home state corporation. The primary responsibility of the resident agent is to receive any notices of litigation on behalf of the corporation. Service of process. By law, the corporation must maintain certain documents in the resident agent's file, such as a certified copy of the articles of incorporation and any amendments thereto. B, a copy of the corporate bylaws and any amendments thereto. C, copy of the original stock ledger or a stock ledger statement designating where the original is being kept. Copy of the original stock ledger or a stock ledger statement designating where the original is being kept. You're required to have a president. President listens to the directors. It's like, and the president is pretty much in charge of the officers. And a secretary is like, you are required to have a president, a secretary, treasurer, and director, and the same person can, in most states, serve in all four positions. However, you can expand your corporation to include a vice president if you choose, or you could have an assistant secretary and or assistant treasurer if such positions will be helpful in the operation of your business. So you can have like assistants. Conclusion. A corporation is born from an idea. The idea takes form through the articles of incorporation filed in a given state. The stockholders are the owners of the corporation. The board of directors determines the strategy, direction, and action of the corporation. The board of directors, they direct things, determine the strategy, direction, and action of the corporation. The officers, employees carry out the plan of action set by the board of directors. So officers, employees carry out our plan, carry out our purpose of our corporation. They carry out the plan of action set by the board of directors. All right, that's the end of That's the end of section 4, chapter 1. Your corporate charter is born. Your corporate structure. Peace, y'all.